Alright, today I'm going to show you how to change the sprocket and chain on your 2000 Honda XR80R. My previous videos I showed how to use a master link in the chain, and I also showed how to remove this. So, first thing is first, the parts I got, which I'll take you to. I got the front and rear sprocket off of eBay from, I forget what it's called. Something. It's just a stock chain sprocket. No teeth reduction or no gaining teeth or anything, so it's going to be a stock gearing. Here's the new rear sprocket. It's black. That doesn't make a difference in the... Here's the front sprocket. It was 35 bucks, I think. 35 bucks shipped. So I don't use this bike enough to whereas I feel like I need to go buy a Honda sprocket set, which would cost about 130 bucks. Also, the bolts and nuts that went through here stripped out pretty bad from the chain falling off so many times, so this went to my local motorcycle shop and got these. It's a set of 6 nuts and bolts for $10, and if I bought this from Honda, it'd be 20 bucks for 8 instead of... No, 20 bucks for 4 instead of 10 bucks for 6, so... And then here's the chain in this package. I'm leaving it in there until I need to get it out because it's pre-greased and I don't want to get dirt all over it. Although it probably doesn't matter. But here's the first thing. I want to do a little comparison because I thought first my chain just stretched out, and then I thought, well, the sprockets probably are 14 years old as well, so they're worn down. So here's the new sprocket. You probably won't tell on this camera, but there it is, nice and new. And there's the teeth thickness. You can see this. And here's my old one. Now it's hard to tell in there, but these teeth come to a point, and as you can see, they kind of look like a bandsaw, and they're all pointing to like the right, and they're real thin up top compared to the other one. You can also see it's kind of like worn down around the edge, so definitely needed another one. Now the front sprocket wasn't as bad, but it definitely has some wear in it too compared to the new one. There's a new one. I'm gonna take out the chain, I guess, and compare them to see how far they stretch because I've been wanting to see that. So let me get those out. Okay, first things first. The good thing, this chain comes with the master link unattached, so you don't have to like risk breaking it or anything. Trying to take it off to get on the bike, but not the point. Alright, I knew my chain was stretched out, but I didn't really know how much, and I'm sure you might have just saw. Okay, here's the ends. Both start the exact same, give or take a centimeter. And here we go, down the line, down the line. Oh, here we go. This is the new chain, and this is the old chain. That's about a good, I don't even know what. That's 2 links shorter. And this is a 110 link chain, and this should be a 110 link chain as well. At least that's the stock chain length, unless someone's changed it, but I can guarantee they didn't. You can look in this and see this chain isn't laid exactly straight, but if I straighten it out, it'd be even longer than the new one. So that just goes to show, even though it's a chain, it's metal, 14 years of wear, it's going to stretch it out some. So I don't know what to say about that. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting these on. I'll show you all the steps. Okay, here we are on the job site. Got your rear wheel here, if you can see, yeah. And then front sprocket and all that junk up there. So, when you take yours off, you can leave your wheel off if you're going to do it one day, but I didn't have the parts, so I just put my wheel back on so I could wheel it around the garage, move it out of the way. So, tools for this job will be, most of them anyway, you're going to need a 14mm wrench, a hammer, a screwdriver, a a ratchet, and you're going to need, everything on this bike is in metric due to, being a Japanese bike and whatnot. But I found for the rear axle, 3/4 and a 9/16 would work just fine. If not, find the metric counterpart. And then over on the smaller side, you're going to need another ratchet or the same one, whichever, and a metric once again, number 8, and a number 10's in there somewhere. I can remember number 10. Also, what you'll need is a number 6 metric Allen key or socket, whichever you have. I don't have them here, but I gotta go to your toolbox and get them. I'll get that. But that's what you'll need. So first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and take my rear wheel and brake assembly back off, which if you remember from the first video, all I had to do is take off that outside nut, which I'll zoom in there for you. Outside nut right in the center, take that off, use a wooden dowel, and bang out the axle through the other side. That axle will come off, and your little eyelet adjusters there for the wheel or chain, whichever, they're going to fall off as well. Well, just the left one. Make sure you keep track of the left one. After you do that, the wheel should go down. You should be able to pull out the drum brake assembly, and there might be a little bearing or something fall out of the wheel. And you'll have your wheel off, and you can put your sprocket on. So we're going to go ahead and do that. Got the axle out. One thing, take everything that came off and put it back on the axle, and then put the nut back on so you don't lose anything. Now I got your rear wheel, and I got my nuts and bolts here on the center, which I will be replacing. So I'm going to go ahead and take them off. I don't know if I'm going to show you. So I'm going to take them off now. Alright, so right here, nuts and bolts. Where's a good example? Here we go. If you can see the end of that, it's chewed off, and then, where's it better? One of these nuts here. Ah, here we go. Okay, you know what a nut looks like. Here's how crapped up mine is. If you can tell, it's all chewed to crap. So more than likely they're going to go in the trash can. Next step. There we go. If you can see, put the rear sprocket on the tire. Or the wheel assembly. So I'm going to go ahead and do that, and this is the time, as you might have guessed, to put on your new nuts and bolts. So I'm just going to go ahead and get these out of the way, and grab my new nuts and bolts and sprockets, start putting them on. Alrighty, got my, let me show you, new nuts and bolts here. They look like they have some sort of maybe Loctite or something on there. I'm going if these are going to fit. They weren't specifically for a XR80, but when I called, the dude said he had a kit, and he said it fit. Same thing at the store when I got there, so hopefully it'll fit. And when I said the original bolts are 6mm up top, or just 6 on the, I don't know if it's millimeter or not, but it's 6 metric Allen key, and then 14 metric on the back. This is looking a lot bigger on this side and a little bit smaller on this side, so I'm going to give you an official measurement when we're done. But first, if you didn't take note when you're taking it off, this is my new sprocket, and on the back it's flat, the hole is flat, and then on the front they're drilled out. There's a term for that, but I can't think of it. Maybe if I think of it, I'll tell you. But anyway, this is the front. This is going to face out. This will be away from the bike. Just remember that these are out. So I'm going to go ahead and slap them on there for you, and you can see the whole process as we go. On these aftermarket nuts and bolts, like I said, the originals were 6 Allen up top and 14 mil on the bottom on the nut. It's these aftermarket ones are 12 mil nut and number 8 up top here. So go ahead and tighten these down. Torque specifications, not very sure. I'm going to tighten them down till snug and maybe just a little bit more, because that's always a good reference to go by, I suppose. So what I'm going to do these like I'm putting on a tire. I'm going to go from here to here to here to here. I don't want to just go all the way around. Probably won't matter, but it's a good safety measure to have. So there we go. Alright, all snug down, a little bit tighter than I need to be. There we go. Wow, got some bling going on, you know? I guess. So next step is I'm going to zoom, not zoom, throw it up here. Front sprocket time. I don't know the word. Anyway, we're going to go into that, and now would be the time. If I'm no expert on motorcycles or anything, but let me see if I can move it up here. A flywheel is usually where on these bikes without ignition system, using a battery, however a coil, you're going to have a magneto, and you're going to have on the flywheel some magnets. And I'm not really sure on these bikes, like I said, but from what I know, this is the flywheel here. As you can see, you can turn it. Got a little bit of pressure on it because the piston, but this flywheel should have magnets on it here and here or wherever. And this thing here is going to be called your magneto, magnetron, something else along those lines. And every time this flywheel turns around, this magnet passes there. It's going to create a electromagnetic field, I guess, something to do with that. And she's going to run up to whatever electronics else are on the bike to do with the spark. And then so you're going to get your spark from. So every time these magnets pass by here, you get your spark. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's the basic idea. What I'm getting at is, you can submerge this bike in water, it's going to get muddy, whatever. And if these contacts are dirty, or if this is dirty, you might want to clean it off. Don't know how too bad it's going to affect you. Usually when I'm working on another small engine, I like to go out there and clean the magneto off and the flywheel, just to make sure. So, while you have your flywheel cover off, you might as well, this has some light rust on it, which looks like it's something a little PB blaster, or maybe just some steel wool will take off. So I'm going to go ahead and steel wool this thing down and clean it up. Then we'll get to that. So there we go. Okay, remember I said the magnets were in here? Like I said, not very sure on these bikes. It's how it works, but as I was doing the steel wool, I noticed the little phrase of the steel wool are attracting to this black little box here. So that could be the magnet, and that could be the other thing could be in here. I don't know. That's how it works. Anyway, I know this needs to be relatively clean. So that's the point. Alright, getting back to the video here. Got take your old sprocket. Don't throw this away. Well, I said this in my last video. On the outside here is 2 bolts, which are the 10 millimeters. I knew I wasn't going crazy. And this little locking washer deal. So what you're going to want to do is grab 10 millimeter, go ahead, take them bolts out, take that locking mechanism off, and then once I do that, I'll put the other one on, which you'll see the whole process of. So here we go. Alright. So as you can see in my hand, hopefully I can't tilt it down. 2 nuts in the locking mechanism, and the other hand, the old sprocket. If you really like it, you can keep it, but if not, just toss it over there. Next, get your brand new sprocket here. On my new one, not very sure which way goes which, but, oh, sorry, I can't see. This one has 4 holes, unlike the old one, which had only 2, so these are all parallel math terms, I don't know, but they're equal to each other. And I'm going to go, this one says 14 tooth, that's going to be outside. So, here we go. Alright, there she is on. Now, if you look at that spline shaft in there, it's going to have maybe a ½ an inch or less of the splines, and then it's going to go down to a ridge, and more spines going on from there. And I wasn't very sure. It's one of those, oh crap, I'm going to have this on the wrong moment kind of deals. And, well, I put the sprocket on. And if you put the lock on, the lock slides, and it seems to kind of fall into that, the ridge. So if you keep it in there, get your bolts in, and when you tighten them up, the bolt should draw the sprocket up against the lock, and it should keep it in place. I tighten it down snug. If you're going to put Loctite on there, that's Loctite or anti-seize, it's up to you. Probably not too bad idea. I'm not sure if I have any Loctite around here. Yeah, you don't want to strip that out since the threads are in the sprocket, and if you screw it up, you either got to tap your own, get a new bolt, or get a new sprocket. So, sprockets are on. Next step is the chain, I guess. So I'm going to go ahead and get my chain. Alright, you can see I have my chain hanging there. Chain hanging. Right here, underneath the chain, there's a chain guide. Or like a runner, whatever, it's a little rubber piece. Mine's screwed up, as in it is pulled away and ripped from its mount, so I don't know if that's going to screw me up or not. Hopefully it won't. Trying to figure out what I want to do here. I think I'm going to go ahead and put the back tire on. Not tighten it down, just on. And then we'll put the master link in the chain. So, I'm sure you know how to put the tire on, but why not show you? So, here we go. You don't want to tighten that down because this chain's going to be a little different than your old one. It's going to be shorter. So that's why, as you can see, I don't know if you can, I have the eyelet chain adjuster, Dewey. That sucker's hanging down low because it's not hooked up. And that's because I'm going to need to move it to get the chain on. So, next step involved, take my chain, wrap it around the front socket, bring it back, get it around the rear wheel to where she fits, slap the master link in there, adjust the tire upright, adjust the wheel upright and all that, put the eyelets back in, and you're going to be good to go. And we'll get to the rest from there. I'm going to go ahead and put the master link in. That will not be on video because it may cause frustration. But it might not, so I'll show you when I'm done. Alrighty, as you can see, chain's on, master link's on. Not even that hard. Now, next step, probably going to have to take this, I'm going to have to take the axle back out. Can you even see what's going on? Yeah, oh. I'm going to have to take the axle back out. Not all the way, just enough, because this adjuster here on the other side, see how this one's hitting right there? On that, it can't go through. The other one can't go through either. So I'm going to take this nut off here, and I'm going to tap through. If I can get the nut off, for God's sake. Take the nut and adjuster off. And I use something. And that's not going to work. Hammer lightly. Very lightly. Tap it out. Now, what you can do, loosen up the nut on this adjuster. The nuts on these adjusters are 10mm. Okay. What I just did there was adjusted the chain back to its right specifications. And I think I might have done it wrong. Well, I did it right, just not the right way. It's up to the right tension, but if you haven't adjusted the chain before, see if I can get in on this. Perfect. To usually adjust the chain, loosen this nut, and then right here, if you want to draw it in, draw the chain tighter, you're going to tighten this nut and it'll draw the whole axle backwards. Now there's one of these on each side, and then there's these little divots up here by my finger, and there's a little indent in the eyelet. This has to be matched up with the exact same one on the other side, or your wheel, instead of being straight, perfect, will be like this, or like this, and it'll cause excess wear on your chain and your sprocket, and that's no bueno. So, I'm going to check and see if they're right. Alright, everybody. The tone of my voice has changed for... Oh, no, I think I might have done that wrong, too. Alright, well, this whole rear tire thing's got me a little frazzled. You know, the eyelets come off, and they got the threads on them, and the whatever. Well, finger tight, people. Finger tight. I'm holding the threaded part, but I goddamn ain't holding the eyelet part. But... you know what? I think I lined it up correctly. I think I'm good to go. So if this is an aluminum, I'm in good shape because I might be able to tack weld it back on there or something like that. But I don't know. Next step, putting on that cover. 5 8mm bolts. Chain might be a little loose, but you know, you adjust that later. So I'm going to go grab my cover. We're going to throw on these bolts and then touch up the brakes. We'll get that. So other than any broken pieces, your chain should be on. I'm going to go ahead and roll this thing back and forth, not over, but you know what I mean. Roll it. The purpose of that being that the chain has stretched out over time, I've had to adjust my rear tire backwards, which means the brakes had to go backwards, which means I had to loosen up the brakes. And now they're really loose and I probably don't have any back brakes, so I gotta tighten them up, but that's for a different video. Thanks for watching, I hope this helped, and yeah.